Medium magenta is the shade that I'm going to use to do the flowers today, and I will add a little bit of crimson lake to it because the medium magenta is kind of very dull. These are all camelin paints. I'm going to use a mix of both these, medium magenta and crimson lake. You can use only one of them also if you'd like.
Hi to everyone who has just joined in. Happy Women's Day and Happy Shivratri.
So just going to fill in with this pretty pink shade that we have created with a mix of crimson lake and medium magenta, which are both shades of pink. If you have any questions, feel free to type them out in the chat.
It is a traditional form of art from Rajasthan and Gujarat.
So just filling in the pink in the flowers. It's a flat fill using medium magenta and crimson lake. Everybody who has joined us on Facebook, I hope you guys can hear us because we are not getting any chat messages over there. So
if you want to ask something, please feel free to ask. No, we aren't using watercolor. It is acrylic paints that we are using
on canvas.
The brand is Camel. Yes, Sagar. This form is related to Lord Krishna. Usually, they have these paintings on the hind side, behind the idol in Krishna temples. Color palette. Color palette. That's a color palette.
Isn't much of anything in the palette. Just the crimson lake and the pink that I'm using.
Yes, we do take online classes and our schedule is announced in the beginning of the month for the entire month so that people can plan their classes which they would like to join as per their convenience.
It has been posted, immediate upcoming ones have been posted to our Facebook and Instagram both, and the entire month's schedule is on the website. Please feel free to reach us on chat after the class if you're interested in any of the online sessions that have been scheduled.
Yeah, this is a book which is made up of canvas sheets. You can use this as well, Manjula.
So I'm just filling in medium magenta and crimson lake, a mix of these two, in the flowers at the back.
Just a quick hi to all those who have just joined in. Welcome to our session.
Now that I'm done with the flower, I am going to paint the background blue, because till then I want the flower shades to dry. So I'm going to take a little bit of my cobalt blue.
This is not a print, it's a sketch that we have drawn.
Going to take a little bit of cobalt blue and a bigger flat brush. Okay. Going to take my blue and
This is not paper, it's a canvas sheet.
going to fill in the blue. Use as less water as possible. If you feel like your brush is too dry, then you can dip it in a little bit of water and then use. If your sketch lines are not straight, now is the time to straighten your lines. Make sure to use a big enough brush. Don't use a tiny brush for such a large area. Otherwise, it will slow you down a lot and you will see too many brush marks. If you can still see brush marks after applying the first layer, that's okay. You can go back to it with a second coat. Hi to everyone who has just joined on Facebook and on Instagram. Happy Women's Day to everyone. This is a free live session on our Facebook page mainly, but today we decided to go live on Instagram as well. We have scheduled different sessions every Friday morning. For this slot, they are not chargeable, they are free of cost. You just need to join the live, keep your sketch and image and paints ready, which will be announced like this time in advance, so that you're prepared for the class.
Hi to everyone who has just joined in. Welcome to our session. We are doing a free live Pichwai painting.
If you happen to paint this today with us or after with the video that may be posted later, feel free to share it with us. We'll be happy to see what you could do with the session. We have been teaching for a long time, more than 8 years now, and have a lot of varied experience in a lot of different topics. We take up orders, we do online sessions, we do offline sessions. Free sessions are very rare, but we are trying to reach all of you, even those who cannot join the paid classes. So these have been specially scheduled on request from a lot of people who follow our pages and our work, so that you can all paint with us.
Brinda, we do not teach doodle art as yet. We can think about it.
I feel like I've sketched it to one side a little bit, but that's okay. Now I'm going to paint the inner side background, and for that it's a very cream kind of a color. So I'm going to use, outside I used Naughty Nails.
We usually don't use any medium to increase the time to merge the paints, but there is something called a retarder which you can use. It might give you a little more time to work with your acrylic paints.
And this book is a canvas sheets pad which we are using. I'm going to use for this background, the inner background, which is more like a cream color. I don't want it to be very dull, so I'm going to use a little bit of lemon yellow and little bit of white. I don't want it to be very bright also, so yellow has to be less. So this is a mix of lemon yellow and white.
I think we are audible, Sejal. You can check your device.
Anybody else having sound issues? I hope everybody can hear us.
Thank you, Naughty Nails.
Great. So use a smaller brush near the main subject areas, because we don't want to cover up whatever we have painted. But in larger areas, we use the big brush so we can cover it quickly.
Like we mentioned, you can either trace the drawing, you can do a grid method, you can do a freehand drawing. Whatever suits you, you can just do the sketch accordingly.
And the image and sketch have both been released on our Facebook page and our Instagram page. Both have the same name.
Happy Women's Day to all those who have just joined us. Thanks for joining.
Using lemon yellow and white for this background, which I don't want it to be very bright. I want it to be little subtle. So I'm not using only lemon yellow. You can feel free to change the colors also of the background. There is no rule to have just these shades.
You can use a little water if you feel that your brush is too dry or it isn't moving on the canvas. But the lesser the water you use, the acrylic paints behave much better. So use minimal amount of water.
Too much will dilute the color and you will see the canvas through the paint. We have to cover the canvas completely in a uniform layer of paint, so we avoid too much water, but a little is required occasionally. But always mix it in your paint, never use it directly on the canvas.
For all those who have joined us from Facebook Live, welcome to the session. And if you have any questions, please write in the comment section. We would be happy to answer. Welcome, Sheetal.
Be careful when you paint near the flower or the edges. You can switch to a smaller brush for that. I'm using lemon yellow and white, and I am going to switch to a smaller brush now because
Thank you, Mommy. It is indeed very satisfying.
okay, continuing with my lemon yellow and white but slightly smaller brush, just to make a note of some interesting things about what we do. We teach more than 20 types of art forms we have been teaching over the years. Whatever images that we take for our online sessions are all new. We don't pre-practice or pre-record or pre-paint any of the references that we teach. They are painted live in all our online sessions and shared with you over Reels on our Instagram and our Facebook pages. We like to pick up challenges and to help you understand and paint it better.
Thank you so much, Umami.
Be careful near the subject areas with the paint brush. You don't want to cover the parts that you have already painted.
Welcome everyone who has just joined in our session. Happy Women's Day and happy Shivratri, today being a special day. Best wishes.
It's actually a great day to do a Pichwai today.
Yeah, we have planned every one session every Friday as of now. Let's see how it goes.
But we have online paid sessions every day for the whole month, which you can join. If you'd like to do a free session like today, then every Friday morning, 11 to 1 is the slot. And if you'd like to do other pictures or references with us and other topics, then feel free to join any of the other online sessions that are scheduled through the month, and we'll be happy to have you. There is a session today evening as well, which is a paid class, which is a pretty picture as well, if any of you are interested. We have an updates page on Instagram as well, where we post the next sessions, but those are posted at little short notice because it's more of a reminder. But they are already posted to our feed, the upcoming ones, which you can check.
Yes, we don't use a color card. We already have that much of experience to decide what colors we need to use to develop a particular painting. We don't go by the card.
Basically, we just look at the reference and tell you what colors you're going to need for it. I'm going to switch to an even smaller brush now. Going to switch to an even smaller brush now to do the tinier spaces in between. Using the same paints and a thinner brush to do tinier spaces.
We are using a slightly more yellowish tone compared to the reference picture, yes, to make it look more nicer actually.
The original color should be unbleached titanium, which will be closest to this cream tone which is in the picture. But that's not a shade people usually have. So we try to suggest colors that are more readily available. Otherwise, you will have to purchase special tubes, which will cost you more money and not get used as much. So hence the substitute closest. But you can use a portrait pink with white, or you can use an unbleached titanium with white to get a closer color to the reference.
Or you can use another shade which fancies you, and it
Yes,
makes
that
your
is also-
composition look good.
That is also an option. Oops, sorry for that.
We just explained a while ago, either you can do a freehand drawing, or you can trace the image, or you can do a grid method and make a sketch. There are many ways to do the sketch. You can also do box method and do the sketch. Yeah, acrylic colors do dry up fast, so you have to work faster towards your composition. One idea is that you take colors in smaller amounts so that you don't end up wasting them. You can take them again.
And don't make large mixtures either in your palette, because you will end up wasting a lot of color like that way. Careful near the flower. This is lemon yellow and white that I'm using.
Hi, welcome everyone who's just joined in. This is a free session we are doing today, and we are doing a Pichwai painting, which is a traditional art form.
There is a more complex Pichwai session scheduled at the end of the month as well, which is a paid class, which has many more elements than this one. This is a fairly simple composition, since a lot of you may be beginners or just wanting to explore. Make sure there are no lumps. It shouldn't be lumpy anywhere.
Hi everyone from Facebook who has just joined in our live session. If you have any doubts, if you want to ask anything, please write it in our comment section. We would be happy to answer.
Just correcting a little bit of the lines that may have got covered of the flower. Okay, so background portions are done. We are ready to do the cow. So for the cow, I will need white paint, and I will need a little bit of orange, which I'm going to use for the highlights.
Hi to everyone who's just joined in our session.
Just going to paint a white for the cow first at the base. And going to give a little orange tone where I see some orange highlights at the end of the tail, here in the center, at the back. Most of the cow is pretty much white, so we stick to that.
We will be sharing this video on our page.
Facebook. Ends of the also have an orange tone. Like I said, the rest of the cow is pretty much white, but we still paint it. We don't leave the canvas as it is. We will still paint all of it. And I've forgotten a little bit of background here, so I'm just going to finish that up right here.
Sure, if you are interested, do join us in our online sessions. They have already been announced on our page.
Little bit of orange on the inner side of the ear. You can add some more highlight wherever you feel you want a little colors to show, but don't do too much because the cow is supposed to be white.
Hello everyone. Hi.
Also, we are going to need to give it some time now to dry. Till then, we can paint the tinier things like the hoofs and the tail, which I'm going to do a very dark grey. I already have white. I'm going to take a little black and I'm going to paint the tail with that. Little black and little white.
Hi everyone, welcome to our session.
So next week we are going to do a knife painting of a very pretty rose. If you wish to work with us in that session, please keep your sketch and prints and paints ready as per the poster, which I will be posting immediately after today's class, so everybody has enough time to prepare. Today we are doing this Pichwai, which has very basic colors, not too many shades or complicated shades that you won't have. No such shades are there in this picture. Now this is completely optional, but if you would like, the jewelry that the cow is wearing is all white here, but if you'd like, you can put a little bit of metallic gold to give it a little highlight. I usually like to paint it gold. So this is a metallic gold paint in the same acrylic set, but you may have to buy this separately. It comes in bottles also, which are also fine to use. Just painting the circles also with gold. And a few things on the head jewelry.
We don't add too much water. We recommend using water only if your brush is too dry or if it's not moving on the canvas.
Now we are going to work on the outlines, which I'm going to do with black paint and a thin brush. If you are uncomfortable with using paint and if your hand is not very stable, you can feel free to use a marker to do this part. If you are using a marker, make sure that your paint has dried before you use the marker, otherwise you will spoil it.
Hi everyone, welcome to our session.
Try to have as uniform lines as possible, not too thick, not too thin. If uncomfortable with the brush, use a marker to do this part.
This is a very popular traditional form of art which is called Pichwai, usually used in Krishna temples, art form of Rajasthan and Gujarat.
We are going to outline only the cow because that is the main highlight of these paintings. We are not going to outline any of the background parts. However, I will do a little design in the background later at the end.
We are using a zero size brush for the outline, and always use a little bit of water if you are using a zero size brush. Otherwise, you get a very rugged line. You won't get a fine line. Welcome, naughty nails.
I'm going to do some dots in the center here with a little of the Crimson Lake, which is still in my palette. Just dots in the center. And with my orange paint, the placement of these hands is usually at the top, so I'm just going to do it the way it's supposed to be. Just make 5 lines for the fingers. And a little dot for the palm, and that should do it. Don't try to be very detailed because you will end up making a very fat hand, but it's a very delicate detail. Okay.
Hello to all the wonderful people who have joined us today.
For my last bit of little detail that I would like to do, I'm going to use a little bit of gold paint, and I'm going to use a palette knife. And I'm going to kind of use the edge of my palette knife and do a little bit of a vertical texture.
Use the edge of your knife.
Only on the blue part of the composition, nowhere else.
Thank you so much. It just looks too good, the outer part.
Just giving it a little accent,
It's too plain on the outside.
some play. Just be careful at the top because there's a little less space.
Thanks, Sejal. Hello everyone who has just joined in. We have used acrylic colors. You're welcome, RT_engineer. We look forward to you joining us for more free sessions. And do join our other sessions as well if you like what we do. These are camel tube colors. You can get it on in any stationery shop. It is not so difficult to get. You can get it on Amazon as well.
And little last.
Hi, welcome Jagdish. You might have to go over the blue border again because sometimes one coat doesn't help. To get a little more depth, you might have to go over it once more.
Okay, so that is done.
how do you finish the border?
With paint.
You have to finish the border with paint.
Have to be neat. As neat as possible. There is no way to make it more neater. Your hand has to be the tool which makes it neater. There is no other way. You have to use the brush and be clean in your work. So today's work is done, and hope everybody had fun.